Hey guys, it's Kelly, and I'm going to read Clementine's letter, chapter 9 and 10. I hope you're doing well today. And under playlist, you'll find the whole entire book of Clementine's letter. So we're almost finished. So I'm going to start on chapter 9, and I hope you enjoy it. Sit back and relax. Chapter 9. On the way to school Thursday, Margaret asked me how it was going with the substitute. Not so good, I told her. Then before she could give me any more bad ideas, like copying Lily, I told her about my dad getting mad at me for a while. Instead of telling me everything I did wrong, Margaret surprised me. She started to cry. What's the matter? And then she surprised me even more. She wiped her tears on my jacket, even though it was probably crawling with germs. My father can't come this month. The actress in his decongestion commercial broke her foot. Now she can't go running through her garden saying how great it is to breathe freely again. They're going to find another actress and start all over. I'm really sorry, I said, and I was. Margaret and Mitchell looked forward to their father visits all month. It was all they could talk about. You're so lucky, she said, and you don't even know it. What are you talking about? Why am I lucky? Because you see your father every day. But you're lucky too, I said. When your father comes in, it's for a whole week. You do everything with him. He doesn't work when he visits. And it's like vacation every single time. My dad's always working. I guess, said Margaret. And you get to stay with him in his hotel and call room service and take the wrappings off the cups in the bathroom. And the toilet has a little strip over it that says sanitize for your protection. You love that. Margaret nodded and brightened up a little bit. And sometimes you get to go to Hollywood, California and watch them make a commercial. I think that's lucky. And one day, your dad might even let you be in one. We sat there for a minute, breathing the bus air and thinking about who was lucky. I guess we both are, said Margaret at last. Just different kinds of lucky. Except I wasn't so lucky once I got into school. During math, Mrs. Nagel wrote a hard problem on the board and then asked if anyone knew the solution to it. I raised my hand and I told her the answer. If my real teacher were there, he would have tapped his nose and then pointed at me smiling. This means you got that right on the nose, good thinking. Instead, Miss Nagel said, that's correct, Clementine, but I didn't ask for the answer. I just asked if anyone knew it. Which was practically the same thing as saying you are never going to be a successful student. Then she wiped the board clean, and I bet she wiped it so hard, she probably rubbed the green right off. In language arts, she made us read our journal entries out loud. But our teacher doesn't make us read them out loud, I said. But Mr. DeMatz isn't here, she reminded me, which I had not forgotten. So today, we will. So I had to read my journal entry, which was about why I love bricks so much, and now that's not a secret anymore. Mrs. Nagel was mean to me 3 more times. The only thing was that I finally figured it out. The only good thing was that I finally figured it out, why I was getting in so much trouble. I raised my hand and I told her I needed to go see the principal. She said, all right, which probably meant, good, now I can get a little work done with the successful students, which made me even madder. So I stomped down the hall so hard, I probably broke the school basement, and I didn't even care about that. Mrs. Rice took one look at my face when I walked in and said, Clementine, do you want to tell me what's bothering you today? Not yet, I said. Do you like tattoos? This is her stomping in. Do you like tattoos? Not so much, Clementine, do you? Yes, I said. Okay, now I want to tell you. I can't guess Mrs. Nagel's rules. She has different ones from my teacher, and she doesn't tell them until it's too late, and I'm already in trouble, which isn't fair. So I was just wondering if you could make my teacher come back a little early, like today. Could you call him and tell him to skip all that getting ready for Egypt stuff for the rest of the week? He doesn't want to be there anyway. I'm sorry, Clementine, but no. I just spoke with him, by the way, and he's having a wonderful time. I folded my arms across my chest and felt my face getting madder and madder. So there's Clementine and the principal, Mrs. Rice. Clementine's mad, and Mrs. Rice is trying to calm her down, being a good principal. Clementine, do you think it's possible Mrs. Nagel feels the same way you do, that she can't guess the rules? It's hard to be a substitute, to learn the new rules of a school. Do you think maybe you could help her out by explaining how your class does things? No, I do not. Mrs. Rice just sat there looking at me, until finally she hypnotized my mouth to say, okay, fine, maybe someone should. I looked at her hard when I said someone, but she only looked back at me harder. I shook my head. Maybe a 6th grader, not me. Mrs. Rice leaned back in her chair. Well, that's too bad. I think you do a good job of it. She stood up. Let's go back to your classroom. Mr. DeMatz asked me to let you all know how much he loved his good luck cards. He also asked me to tell the class what he's been doing this week. She handed me her dictionary. If you look up mummification, you can help explain what he's learning about. I looked up the word, and then we went back to my classroom. Mrs. Rice told everyone how much Mr. DeMatz appreciated our nice cards. She said she was having a wonderful week. She said he was having a wonderful week, and that today he learned more about mummification. And now, Clementine will explain what that means. First, they scoop out the guy's guts with the big spoon, I said, and then they go for the brains through his nose. If the mummy starts sneezing when they do this, there are brains flying everywhere, and they have to scrape them off the ceiling with a shovel. Beside me, Mrs. Rice cleared her throat. All right, no, I guess that doesn't happen a lot, said Clementine. But it's pretty disgusting. And besides, I said, under all those wrappings, those mummies are naked. Mrs. Rice let out a huge sigh. Oh, thank you, Clementine, for that enlightening look at mummification. When I got home from school, I put the $22 in my pocket and started for the top floor. Hi, Mrs. Jacoby, I'm sorry I sold private giveaway stuff. Here's your money. Do you want it back? Mrs. Jacoby just looked at me like I was crazy. I love my placemat, she said. I don't want any money back. At the next floor, it was the same thing. And the next, and the next, and the next. Everybody looked at me like I was crazy. Everybody was happy with what they bought. Nobody wanted their money back. I went to Margaret and Mitchell's apartment last because Alan doesn't show up until 4 o'clock. Mitchell answered the door. Hi, Clementine, he said. He had a huge grin on his face. Is Alan here? I asked. Nope, he cried. His grin got even bigger. Why not? I asked. There's his big grin. Mitchell's happy. Why do we think he's happy? Let's find out. Mitchell's face nearly split in two. You know that pipe you sold him? The one he was just like the one he lost? Well, it was his. He hadn't lost it. My mom had thrown it away. So now he's mad at her, and he's not coming over. Thanks, Clementine. Usually when someone thanks me for something, I feel good. But not this time. But I said, you're welcome anyway. And then I realized something. I still had the money for my mom's present. We have to go to the art store now, I told Mitchell. Okay, he said. This is the good thing about Mitchell. He never asks why. He just does stuff for me. If I'd asked Margaret, she would have asked me 100 questions and then told me 100 reasons why my idea was stupid and she had a better one. Not Mitchell. He just says, okay, if I ever have him as a boyfriend, which I will not, it might be him. Hey, let's bring your brother, Mitchell said. This is another good thing about him. He likes my brother, and my brother likes him. So we went down to my apartment and got Scallion and strapped him into the stroller. Mitchell leaned over and said, stroller derby. My brother just shrieked, yay! Which is how he says yes when he's too excited to speak. He shrieks a lot around Mitchell. Mitchell took off with my brother, running as fast as he could without actually flattening anybody he passed on the street. My brother kept shrieking the whole time because he loves roller derby so much. So they're running to the store. Remember, they're getting Clementine's mother her present. He loves stroller derby so much, and because he likes to hear his voice shake when they hit the sidewalk bumps, I had to run to keep up. And we got there in just a few minutes. Inside, I slapped my money on the counter, out of breath. "You're back," the clerk said. Then he asked me how my great Aunt Rose was. "I don't know," I told him. "I haven't seen her this week, but I guess she's normal." And then I asked him how his great aunt was. "I don't know either," he said. "I haven't seen mine this week either, but I guess she's normal too." Then we were all done being polite, so the clerk wrapped up all the art supply organizer together. I strapped the package onto the seat beneath my brother, and we headed home. "No stroller derby this time," I warned Mitchell. Mitchell and my brother looked at me like they were both too heartbroken to speak. But I stayed firm. "Sorry," I said, "not with something so valuable in the stroller. This is called being responsible." All right, chapter 10. My mother had left a note. "Gone to deliver my drawings. Dad's out back with the masons." Here's a picture. So the masons are the people working on the back bricklaying. Radish was conked out from all that shrieking, so I strollered him out back and sat down on the bench next to my dad. He lifted my brother onto his lap. "What's in the bag?" he said. I pulled out the wooden box. "For Mom. She's going to love it. It's for her art supplies. Don't you think she's going to love it?" So this is the dad. This is the dad and her brother and Clementine looking at the box for her mom. My dad took the box. "Wow," he said. "She's going to love it all right. But we talked about this. You know, you don't have to." "I know," I said. "I just got thinking about how happy it would make her. I wanted to see her." "Wow, I must be dreaming face, Dad." Dad smiled. "I like it when she makes that face too." "Well, I guess it just makes it better then, what you did. It's a good reason, wanting to make someone happy." "Is everyone in the building still mad at each other?" I asked. He nodded. "Let's just say the air in the elevator was a bit frosty today." "They wanted their giveaways to be private?" I asked. My dad nodded again. "That's why they were in the shopping bags." "But I didn't know that." "I know. I'd like to know the rules ahead of time," I said. "I understand," my dad said. Then we were quiet for a while, watching the masons finish the wall, which gave me a good idea. I told it to my dad. "I don't see why not," he said. "There are enough bricks left over and enough money in the building improvements budget." So we asked the masons if they could build a little brick wall around the charity collection area, and they said sure. When it was done, my dad and I built a wooden cover for it with a little door on the top for people to drop their giveaways into. I made a sign that said, "Private, no taking stuff out and selling it." Then I decorated the sign with saris and put in the $2 I had left over from what I sold. "Oh, that should take care of it," my dad said. "Oh, look at that. For the giveaways in the building." And she wrote her note up there. She's so kind. I bet you guys do kind things too. "That should make everyone in the building happy." Almost everyone. I asked my dad if we could eat our dinner up on the roof and play life, and could Margaret and Mitchell come too? I explained to him about their father not coming this weekend and about Margaret crying. "And could you be a substitute father for her?" A substitute? I don't know, Margaret seems a little particular about things. I don't know if I could figure out her rules." "Well, I guess you shouldn't worry about Margaret's rules. Just be your regular own kind of dad." "Okay," my dad said. "I'll do it." We brought my brother inside, and I called up Margaret and asked if she and Mitchell would come have pizza with us up on the roof. "Thank goodness," she said. "My mother is making a I'm sorry dinner for Alan, meatloaf, extra onions, and he's probably going to kiss her." Just then, my mom walked in, looking kind of droopy. She held up our drawings. "He didn't like them. Not scriggly enough," she said. "Too whooshy." I told her I thought they were the perfect amount of scriggly and not too whooshy at all. "But I have something that will make you feel better." I made her sit down. "Close your eyes," I said. And then I got the Deluxe Art Supplies organizer and put it on her lap. When she opened her eyes, she got so excited she couldn't finish her sentences, which is usually a bad sign, but not then. "Look at all for my brushes? And it has so now he can't get into," and all the time she was making, "Wow, I must be dreaming" face, which was so pretty. I'm going to make a drawing of it someday. My brother woke up just then, and we all waited while he said hi to his feet and then showed them to us as if we'd never met them before. And then my mom scooped him up onto her lap and gave him a couple of the empty cookie tins. "It's your lucky day too," she told him. "You'll get presents too." My brother grinned and began to bang the cookie tins together. Then my mother looked over at me. "Oh, wait, Clementine, would you like some of them?" And right away, without even thinking about it, I said, "No, he can have them all. I don't mind." And that was the truth. My dad winked at me. This is her mom opening. The art organizer. So kind. So many people doing kind things in this book. They should rename this book. Clementine's Letter should be called Clementine So Kind. My dad's face looked so nice that I'm going to draw a drawing of my dad's face too. Then we ordered 2 pizzas and we picked up Margaret and Mitchell on the 5th floor and we all went up to the roof. We didn't play life though because we had so many other things to do up there. Do you want to see the picture? This is the best picture ever. They're on the roof. Can you see everybody? Clementine, her mom and dad, her little brother, Margaret, Mitchell. Everybody's eating pizza. Looks really fun, doesn't it? The sun was setting and I listed every color I could see in the clouds over Boston. I counted 33 colors. Next, Mitchell pointed to where Fenway Park was. He told us about every ball that was belted out of the park this season, who hit it, how far it went, and who won. When we turned on the lamp on to Margaret and she acted out every one of her father's commercials. My dad clapped like crazy and said, "I'm going to buy that product after each one." This made Margaret smile so big that her teeth bracelets sparkled in the lamplight. Even Spinach did something up there. He shrieked whenever Mitchell winked at him. "Ah! Ah!" As we were packing up our stuff to go back inside, Mitchell asked about my teacher. "So, did he go camping?" He's not going now. He's not going to break his promise. He didn't want to go anyway." "Well, that's good he changed his mind." "He didn't exactly change his mind." I explained about the letter to the judges. Mitchell stopped and stared at me. "You wrote all those terrible things I told you about Beans McLeod, but what if he reads it, your teacher?" "He won't. It's a letter to the judges." "Are you sure?" "Of course I'm sure." But all of a sudden, I wasn't sure. Back in our apartment, my parents went into my brother's room to tuck him into bed. I went into their room and opened up my dad's book. I found the page where he'd written about how proud the building manager was because his daughter promised she was going to think ahead from now on. And then I wrote, "But she might not be so good at this." All right, that was the end of chapter 9 and 10. And we're going to read the last chapter is 11, and is there 12? Let's see. I think it's just 11. So we're going to read chapter 11 in a little bit. Thank you for listening. If you see a subscribe button, click it. I think I have one, but if you do subscribe or like, it just means YouTube will let me keep reading. It will let YouTube know that you like my videos and that I get to keep reading books for you. And I love, love, love reading books to you. It's really my favorite thing, and I really appreciate everybody out there. So thanks for listening, and this is Kelley, and I'm going to see you really soon. Have a great day.